Welcome to the Video Insiders Podcast. I'm Carlos Pacheco.
And I'm Tom Martin.
And we are two grizzled YouTube veterans who have managed dozens, if not hundreds, of YouTube channels, billions of views, and a ridiculous amount of spam accounts.
And we're here to take you behind the scenes of what it's like to run a YouTube channel from the professional side. Carlos, what is the word on the streets this week?
Hot and muggy.
This is the Toronto weather forecast. Toronto weather, PBS W5 K9.
Now it's an inside joke. So yes, it's hot and muggy in Toronto. Things are great. A bunch of random, things happening around my life. Looking forward to a few holiday weekends in the next couple of weeks. Unlike you, I haven't taken a vacation every 3 days.
So I won't tell you that I'm off to Peppa Pig World next week.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me that, and I was like, "There's a Peppa Pig World."
That's when you know you are YouTube gold, when you've got your own theme park.
Yes. What's been good with you?
So depending on when this is going out compared to when we're recording it, this week I launched a brand new YouTube channel.
What? We just said we don't YouTube.
Yeah, we don't YouTube in terms of teaching people how to do YouTube on YouTube. But in that episode, go and check it out in our podcast feed. I did mention that in the very short term, I would be launching some YouTube channels that had nothing to do with how to YouTube, just good opportunities that I'd found where I thought I could create content in a cost-effective way. And so I'm about 48 hours in.
Whoa.
33 subscribers up and 490 minutes watched. So not too bad. That's all organic stuff. So we shall see. A long road ahead of me. I'm just already thinking about getting someone to take some of the workload off after just 48 hours. But I really have enjoyed kind of being on the front lines, setting up a channel, getting my keywords straight, getting my systems in place, creating like a content pipeline. What I do for a lot of clients, doing it for myself has been really exciting. And if you follow me on social or on LinkedIn, you see I've got one of those really cute little overpriced clocks that give you a live subscriber count.
That's awesome.
That's catching my eye far too often.
So funny enough, after our We Know YouTube episode, I decided to make 2 YouTube videos on my personal channel that were more about my personal stuff.
I was going to say, which washing machines did you review?
Actually, no, it is a little bit product focused, but I decided to get back into cycling. And it was more of it was my first video was a little vloggy where I was sort of explaining why I dropped off cycling and then now why I'm back. And second one was sort of like, here's my new bike. And I already have a third one in a bunch of different memory cards that I need to assemble. Again, another product. But, I can't commit to anything. So I like to experiment and stuff. But funny enough, my bike video is a great SEO project because, it's easy to tag products, right? I keep telling creators that only do content about, themselves or their adventures, and I keep telling them, it's like, yeah, man, products is where it's at because the SEO, the long-term search on products is way better than a vlog.
Yeah, you're going to get them people that are looking to buy that bike,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to want to know the ins and outs of it. So yeah, it's no different than the tech reviewer space.
Exactly.
It just so happens that maybe working in a slightly smaller niche, but probably a niche where you could get some pretty sweet affiliate revenue going on. If you get people buying bikes through one of your links or cycle gear.
I was thinking, at first I was thinking that I would I'm going to record my rides, but I was like, I'm going to get bored after the first ride. So yeah, again, it's like, I don't want to commit to anything. And whenever I buy a little product that, helps my biking or augments my biking tech, I'll just try to make a video. But again, I'm no pro. So, and I have no patience for shooting, setting up the shots and all that sort of stuff. I just take a handheld and sometimes a DSLR and just shoot, off the cuff and just see how that works out. But, it's worked out well in the past in terms of product videos.
Yeah, well, you get a proper kind of YouTube gold stars for doing the typical, sorry, I've been away, guys, here's why, and now I'm back. So you're a fully fledged YouTuber now.
All right.
Carlos, so congrats on that.
Enough about our wonderful YouTube careers.
Oh, so, speaking about Carlos's hottest new video, we're speaking about a really interesting topic today, and it's a question that people are asking constantly. They really want to know, and it's really valuable to know, is what content actually dominates on YouTube. So we've got a really, really interesting discussion coming up. But first, we need to say a huge, huge thank you to our amazing sponsor, TubeBuddy.
TubeBuddy is the ultimate tool for creators to streamline their daily workflow on YouTube, allowing more time to make great content, for brands to help reduce busy work and focus on what matters, growing your business on YouTube, for agencies to help multiple client channels, and for networks, which gives the partners the tools for success and an attractive incentive for recruitment.
And if by some chance you haven't yet signed up for a TubeBuddy account, you can do so and get an exclusive multi-channel license discount by visiting videoinsiders.fm/TubeBuddy.
Thank you, TubeBuddy. So we wanted to talk about what content dominates on YouTube, inspired by an article by a fellow named Rasty Turek. I'm sorry if I mangled that name, but that's how I read it. He's the founder, CEO of a company called PEX, P-E-X. They are the most advanced video and music analytics platform on the internet, according to them.
Yeah, so I actually, you sent this article to me and I was blown away by how good it was. And I was also absolutely shocked that I'd not heard of PEX before, because looking at their products and what they offer, they seem to be pretty incredible. I thought I was pretty, in touch, and I thought I'd been, pretty much pitched on every tool that there has ever been on the YouTube market. And so I decided to do what any nosy person like me does, is to get PEX on the phone. And so I spoke to Amadea over at PEX, who was super, super nice, really smart, and was telling me all about their products and stuff. So they have an advanced kind of analytics suite, and they pretty much index the entire YouTube platform, as well as other video platforms such as Instagram, Facebook video, you name it, any VKontakte, some of the Chinese platforms. So they basically download or index all of that. And so not only have they got, great analytics basis from which they can provide insights to clients, but they also provide a service where you can basically fingerprint your video's content ID style across other video platforms that don't offer the same kind of brand protection tools. So really amazing products. I'm sure I'll be hearing a lot more from them in the future. Might be good to get one of those guys on the podcast one day to speak a little bit more about what they do, but also what other insights they've got. And you can check them out at pex.com. Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, I mean, I actually connected with Rasty on LinkedIn as soon as I, saw what they did. And I was like, wow, this guy, they're way advanced in this space where, where content creators, content companies, they constantly at a loss as to where their content ends up. The tools that pex.com offers is really impressive.
Yeah, so we're going to break down an article that they published recently, You will link to it in the show notes, but you can also find it at blog.pex.com. And it goes into a lot of details, but, everyone loves a juicy kind of YouTube stats. And they've actually got some kind of real up-to-date stats, probably even more up-to-date than the kind of stats that you'd find in most YouTube presentations and stuff like that. But just to caveat, the article does say that the statistics that they've got were kind of up-to-date as of December 18. So there's probably, and we're recording this in August 19, so there's probably been even more growth. But so, for example, in one of Susan Wojcicki's recent speeches, she said that they're uploading, that people are uploading around, 500 hours of content per minute. And I remember when we were blown away a few years ago and it was like 300, 400. But in Pex's article, they go on to say that it's actually over 600 hours per minute that is uploaded to YouTube, which is just mind-blowing. I remember when it was going from 300 to 400, and now it's just such a rapid rate of growth. And we'll come on to talk more about the kind of growth and will it ever peak in a second. But Carlos, were there any kind of smaller quick stats that kind of stuck out in your mind?
So yeah, for me, the interesting one was the average video duration is now over 15 minutes. When you talk to a creator, they know this, right? We see tons of creators upload 20-minute videos on average, and and even videos that are 1 hour long, right? And obviously with like the proliferation of video games and video game streaming, that's, makes that number actually seem small. But interestingly enough, when I talk to brands who want to create content, it's like they keep talking about these like 1 minute videos and, or maybe like, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and they feel like that's too long. And I keep telling them, it's like, no, man, you need to create stuff that's like ridiculously long, much more longer than a commercial at this point, right? So for us, I don't feel like those stats are very sort of surprising, but it's still surprising to, sort of your traditional sort of a marketer out there that's creating content online.
Yeah, and it definitely goes with what Derek from Veritasium was saying in his video of how to go viral, and we did a whole episode kind of replying and breaking down that video, which you can find in our podcast feed in the podcast app of your choice. Make sure you're subscribed. So my question is it kind of a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy? People are making longer videos, so then the rumor spreads that you have to make longer videos. I believe it is, what YouTube wants as a platform and as an algorithm. But do you think there is a bit of a kind of rumor, the word's out now that it has to be longer, so people are doing it longer, whether it's benefiting them or not?
I think obviously there was a point where people jumped onto that, and certain creators are still doing it. I specifically see tech videos nowadays, coming up at 15 minutes. Nothing under 10 minutes these days. But I'm a firm believer of doing what's right for the story, for the piece of content. I also think the proliferation of video game content, right? Like YouTube went right after the video game ecosystem, the video game streamers, once Twitch was purchased by Amazon, right? There was a point where Twitch was being shopped around and everybody thought that YouTube was going to buy it, and then YouTube didn't. The moment that didn't happen, YouTube went all in on the video game ecosystem. And we like to talk about Twitch and being how it's like the place for gamers, but when you look at actually videos being uploaded, I think I don't have it in front of me, and I'll look it up maybe on a show note, is the comparison of how much video game content is being uploaded on YouTube versus Twitch is still astronomical, right? And those are not 15-minute videos. Those are, 1 hour streams, 2 hour streams, 3 hour streams, right? Those are not quick videos.
Yeah, so I'll pop forward in our kind of planned chat, because it actually says in the article that there are more gaming videos uploaded to YouTube than Twitch by an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that means, thousands times more. I'm assuming something like that. But what it does say is that gaming videos on YouTube are not necessarily the most viewed. So just because there are tons of people that are uploading these videos, trying to be the next, Dan TDM, trying to be the next PewDiePie, trying to be the next Markiplier, whoever it might be, they're using this platform. But how many of those people are actually successful and how many people are actually watching those gaming videos is a whole nother question. And the article does say that on YouTube, gaming is by far the fastest growing. And there's a chart there that shows the kind of current trends, and it also shows the kind of future trends. And, gaming is basically, it's on a whole nother chart of its own. It's so far ahead of everything else.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I'm not really from the gaming world. I haven't had time to play much of anything really for about the last 8 years since my son was born. So I'm way out of that world, and I'm really not a viewer of streams. So I definitely feel like I'm not best placed to talk about gaming, but do you think it is going to continue to dominate? Because, in terms of content creation, it is, from a production point of view, obviously it's not easy. You need the software, the streaming gear, but, you're turning on a camera and screen capturing and adding some commentary. I'm probably belittling the effort that goes into that. But when you compare that to, maybe like filming a recipe or something like that, it's pretty low barrier to entry, and probably only going to get lower. I think actually Twitch announced today that they've released their own streaming software. So they want people to stream and make it as easy as possible.
Well, the data here is the average video duration. It's not the average video duration watched. The key here is that, yes, there are a bunch of videos being uploaded that are much longer than that, but doesn't mean that people are actually watching those. And as somebody who, I've dabbled here and there with streaming video, and I used to be a gamer back in the day. And, just when things started to get serious with streaming, I just grew out of it. And from my experiences streaming on YouTube, or while I was playing on my PS4 and not at all doing it seriously, it takes a lot of work to get somebody to watch your stuff. So there's just a lot of stuff being uploaded, and it's, they're making it really easy. Like, it's just a press of a button and you're streaming. To me, when you make content easy like that and it becomes so abundant, it just clogs the pipes. It just creates this level of content that it becomes less and less valuable because there's just so much of it, right? And that's why for me it's just, it'll increase because people are gaming more and more. Phones are becoming, you're going to be able to stream from your phone. I think it's already possible right now. So yeah, it's going to happen.
And there's a bit of a throwback, but YouTube took the decision, I think it was this year, to close down their dedicated gaming app and move everything back over to, the YouTube proper. How do you think, or one, why do you think they took that decision? And two, how do you think that affects growth? Do you think that's kind of accelerated the growth of gaming? Why do you think they would remove that kind of walled garden around gaming and put it back into the mainstream, so to speak?
Well, I think it was just because probably a cost effectiveness for them, managing another app, and they sort of was splitting the audiences, and maybe they saw in the data that it wasn't worth it. Over the years of using that app, I believe that a lot of the features that were there are now available on YouTube proper when you're streaming a game, right? It's just all the main features got integrated into the main platform. And, I didn't really look into it. So those are sort of educated guesses at this point.
So moving on from gaming, the article goes on to say that by far and away, music content gets the most views per upload. And, that's pretty easy to see why, you watch most YouTube videos, you're not going to go back and watch that. But, if you're watching some, I'm going to really show how uncool I am. You're watching like, Despacito, for example, which is like a record breaking track. You might put that on loop 5 times, and you might watch it 5 times a day, and then you might watch it for 5 days a week before you finally get sick of it. And then, people are having parties and sticking YouTube on. So you can see why something like music is, by far and away the most viewed per upload. But what are your thoughts on kind of YouTube as a music platform, so to speak? Because they've merged a lot of kind of unofficial channels and official Vevo channels together to bring all artist music in one place. You can buy like a YouTube music subscription via like YouTube Premium, as it's now called. How smart is it of YouTube to kind of get into the ring with the likes of Apple Music and Spotify, people like that?
Well, I mean, that side of the business is a tough one for me to sort of answer, but, we all know that, YouTube's growth, a lot of it is off of piracy. Initial growth is off of piracy, and music is the first thing that gets pirated when it comes to media, YouTube, and obviously, music and TV and movies, right? So they had to get into that space to make themselves legit. Sometime last year, when YouTube Music was being launched, I was hearing rumors from people who, manage music assets that, YouTube was forcing the labels to get themselves organized and take down more and more of pirated content and just make official channels and make things look more legit, so that the artists would be happy and the CPMs would get higher because it would be official videos instead of pirated videos. The comparison of music makes so much sense. Anybody, every single kid out there listens to music on YouTube, just lets it run in the background. It's free. Yes, there's ads in front of it, but then nobody pays attention to the ads. They hide the tab and they just let it play, right? I was talking to a friend of mine who runs a local MCN, and he's like, I still listen to music just via YouTube and just let it run in the background. And the guy's like, leading a national network, and, he can afford to buy music, but he still just, listens to music through YouTube. So it's sort of a no-brainer when it comes to seeing those numbers.
Yeah, and YouTube have kind of had a love-hate relationship with the kind of music labels, which are, such powerful entities. And really it was the music labels which I think really forced YouTube's hand into delivering Content ID as a tool. So anyone that's had experience of working in Content ID, they will know that if you're a music label or a publisher, producer, you get a totally different CMS. You get a totally different set of tools. That's how kind of well looked after and well guarded music rights and royalties are. And if you come into kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but if you get multiple claims on a video, so let's say your video asset is claimed and there's a music asset that's also making a claim, I think the music asset is pretty much always going to get a lion's share of that revenue. Am I talking complete rubbish there, Carlos? Can you?
No. The music claiming is, I don't know how to describe this, but more powerful than regular video.
Like
claiming.
It takes precedent, shall we say?
Yeah, it takes precedent. Exactly. Yeah, and also one thing you have to consider, music on YouTube is a huge marketing opportunity for the bands and and the labels, right? And it's organic views, free organic views. They understand that, and the artists complain because they don't understand the big picture sometimes. But they complain about YouTube is the one where you make the least per stream. But YouTube's also the biggest marketing platform for your brand and for image. So, if a video goes viral if a music artist or track goes viral on YouTube, you benefit from it beyond just YouTube, right? And I keep thinking about, the last couple of weeks, one of my favorite bands, Tool, which had never been in any streaming platform, they just released their full albums, their full library on YouTube for free. You can stream it off Spotify. You can stream it off YouTube Music Premium, but they just went out and put it all out there. And why did they do that? Well, they have a new album coming out in 3 weeks, and having a channel that has millions from zero to I was actually listening today. It went from, I don't know, 50, 70,000 subscribers to 150,000 subscribers in the space of less than a week. So by the time the new album is released, they'll probably be 250,000, and they just need to put a little trailer of the album, and then people are going to go buy it in premium spaces, right? So that's the strategy there.
Cool music choice as well, because whenever I think of you, Carlos, I always think Tool.
I don't know why you say that, but sure.
Seriously, but it's just like MTV was when it first came out. A lot of the artists, especially like a lot of the music companies, are like, why would we put our music on TV and spend all this money to make a video? But then they soon realized that if your videos weren't playing on MTV, like now, if they're not on YouTube, you're going to miss out.
Yeah, and also I'd like to point out that, like, I sort of guessed this, but YouTube might be getting their thunder taken away from them because of the TikToks of this world, right? TikTok is based off of music, has a background in music, and the biggest hit of the summer was a TikTok hit. So, and this is Old Time Road, right? So, like that's an opportunity there. Like when I saw the way a track can be tagged in TikTok and spread organically. I remember seeing this like about a year ago, and I was like, my God, this is an amazing opportunity for music artists. The only thing I don't know is if TikTok actually pays any royalties, because TikTok only makes money off the ads. And I'm pretty sure there's no system set up there yet for them. And
I'd be surprised if the music industry were just sitting by and not.
Oh, I'm sure there's some negotiations in the back end and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's a reason that music's still there, and it's all tagged. Of course, it's tagged in a way so that, if you see a track on TikTok, it'll bring you to Apple Music, it'll bring you to Spotify and all that sort of stuff. But they're still getting a significant amount of the track used in a TikTok. Obviously, there's ads there, so somebody's getting a kickback on that side of things.
Yeah, so it says in the article that the highest percentage of views goes to the entertainment category, which is as wide and broad as you can get. So even though music gets more views per upload and more number of uploads is gaming, it's actually entertainment that is getting the highest percentage of views. So that could include vlogs, that could include kids, I'm assuming, because animation and film is separate.
Everybody thinks their content is entertainment, right?
Yeah,
that's the end of it, right? A lot of it is miscategorized in the end.
It is a good point, because I was, as I said, setting up this new channel, and I'm thinking, what category do I put this in? Because it really doesn't fit into one of the 16 or so categories that it gives you. There's no way I'm going to click other, because what does that mean? How much does YouTube even care about the category? So I went with a category that I thought would be less competitive, just in case. But I'm not sure that even matters. Obviously, PECs have used these categories because they are the categories that are kind of the defaults from YouTube. And a really interesting stat was people and blogs is really overrepresented because that's the default category, and people don't even realize there is a category system. So I'm not sure how much that means, but I think generally what we can say, especially from our point of view, Carlos, as people that have worked in the entertainment industry, is everything we've seen so far this year, the predictions we made at the start of the year, is that YouTube are going to push more towards traditional entertainment. So, TV shows, movies, cartoons, talk show clips, stuff like that, news from mainstream outlets. When I see the stat saying that the average video duration is over 15 minutes, I know that they're attributing a lot of that to gaming and live streaming, but I would also say that it's also down to 30, 40, 1 hour long TV episodes and compilations of kids cartoons that are 2, 3, 4, 10 hours. So I think that's got a lot as well to do with, that growing duration. So is this, the heart of YouTube going forward? Is it going to be this entertainment category?
I sort of hate the fact that categories are still they're there. I mean, they're so generic. At this point, like it feels like YouTube really needs to do.
Yeah.
The problem is that this is a really interesting report, because there's people, categorizing their music. I mean, their videos, but it's really dated, right? It needs to be updated to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much this helps a channel at this point, right? We do it. I think we're sort of like, we're on autopilot in terms of like these categories. We do it because it's that one thing that
you have to tick that box.
You have to tick that box. But I've heard many comments that it doesn't change anything in terms of your growth, your views, whatever. You can put gaming on a cooking channel, and it's not gonna prevent your channel from growing. So, I just wish that at least Google would sort of like help with, or YouTube would help with, sort of updating these at this point.
Yeah. What I would say is that I'm sure PEX and other companies have ways of kind of subcategorizing this stuff.
Totally.
I've actually recently been speaking to a company called Video Amigo that have kind of taken it a unique approach and kind of manually categorized. It must be millions of videos. So you can now check your kind of competitor set in your kind of subcategory. So not only would you look in entertainment, but you can actually look at like kids cartoons, and not only in gaming, but you can look at like Minecraft videos, and you can start to data mine against competition. And that tool is actually free at the moment. So definitely recommend you check that out at videoamigo.com. Doing some interesting stuff. And I think also when I used to be in the corporate world and we used kind of Tubular, they had some other kind of similar subcategories, which I think is a lot more useful than the kind of defaults that YouTube provides. So tool providers, PEX and everyone else, the more we can get kind of granular detail, the more we can take action, because, one of our kind of questions is, what does this mean and what actionable steps can we actually take here? Apart from the fact that knowing that gaming is oversaturated, apart from knowing that music is really, really popular, but at the same time, if you're not a famous artist or a music label, what do you do with that unless you're maybe a covers artist? So is there anything you think that we can take from this article that's going to help us, really take any kind of decisive action?
I think the point that we haven't spoken about yet, the one about the unique uploaders, is the one that's sort of like, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the point is that distinct unique uploaders is flat and is expected to be flat for the next little while. I think they capped it at 100 million. So that those are the people actually uploading content to YouTube instead of the consumers. So that means that YouTube's creator ecosystem has hit a plateau. And what I feel could happen here is that the content's just going to have to be better. Everybody's going to have to sort of like keep upping their game, get those audiences, because obviously there's churn, there's creators aging out, leaving, all that sort of stuff. And obviously companies coming in and out. But, as the audience grows and, there's still, the funny part is that the people uploading are less. This is another point actually, is distinct users uploading stays flat, but number of uploads is going up. I think 2018 was 1.3 billion, and they're showing projections here, but it'll be close to 1.4 by 2019. So that means that we're saying the same amount of people uploading videos, but each person is uploading more videos. So, us that we've had experiences is we worked with companies that have, hundreds of thousands of videos. So that I expect there's going to be more and more of those. Creators are going to, again, you have to look at the daily streamers, the daily video game streamers, the vloggers that upload once a week to 3 times a week, right? That seems to be that's what's increasing here, is the frequency of the uploads, not the actual number of uploaders.
Yeah, so it could be that the real lesson here is not what content to make, but the real lesson is YouTube is becoming more and more saturated. People are making more and more videos, longer videos. So you need to kind of keep up in the kind of the nuclear race of content creation, keep the lengths up, keep the consistency up. And like you say, you need to make content that is going to be able to cut through. And I think we've seen that in a number of spaces where, you know, you've seen just better quality videos start to rise to the top, where I think in previous years it would just be stuff that did the bare minimum, was well optimized, you know, would kind of float to the surface. Whereas now you're seeing audiences making more kind of discerning choices about what they're going to watch, and, you know, it being of a certain quality. And people are watching on bigger screens now. The TV screen is the fastest growing screen for YouTube. You know, people want to watch, you know, in HD and 4K and God knows what next year, maybe introduction of 8K to YouTube. But again, it all comes back to my main kind of theme, which I keep coming back to, is that YouTube is going to just become more of a home to media companies and traditional TV, movies, that kind of stuff.
If the YouTubers keep creating fake drama, I'm like, I saw yesterday this video about this, I won't even name the YouTuber, like a YouTuber who mistreated their pet, that's going viral. And I highly suspect that this is, you know, purposely done, because, you know, so people are going to get tired of people like that. Right. And, you know, we're seeing more and more abuse in the system. So people are going to start tuning out of, like, you know, amateurist, you know, people trying to get attention. Maybe. I don't know. That's my prediction at this point. Right.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's YouTube's kind of prerogative, and the trend I really see is to find content which is advertiser friendly.
Yeah.
We've seen at the time of recording this, you know, a vast swathes of kids channels that have basically been cut off at the knees overnight. And there's been some press coverage of that it says that was in response to kind of FTC stuff that was going on around kids content. And then they've basically taken swift action to decimate large chunks of the kind of what they would maybe deem to be less quality content. So I think that's another lesson, is to, you know, if you're on the verge of becoming a content creator, or you're at a kind of crossroads, is to make sure that everything you're doing, you know, would always be advertiser friendly and you know, not controversial, or, you know, going against any kind of advertiser policies in any way.
Yep, that's where it's at. I feel like we're sort of a broken record at this point when it comes to that. That's, you know, it's going to be weather and YouTube going pro. Yeah. And that's the theme of this podcast.
Yep. So that's our take on the article. Fantastic article, really great insights. And I'm going to be following that blog like a hawk to see what comes next. Remember, you can check that out at blog.pex.com. And yeah, I definitely think we'll be getting someone from the team from Pex on in the future to talk about more of what they're doing, but also what kind of other juicy insights they've got. We might even get some exclusives if we are very, very lucky. But we'd also love to hear what you think about the article, what we've said, and what you think your predictions might be based on the trends that have been set out there. You can hit us up on social at Video Insiders, and you can email us hello@videoinsiders.fm.
Yes. And once again, we'd like to thank TubeBuddy for helping us create this show. TubeBuddy is the ultimate tool for your YouTube channel, the best tool to optimize for SEO, your tagging, your thumbnail creation, and even competitive review, looking at what your competition is doing, what tags they're using. That's one of the tools that I love about TubeBuddy. Thanks again, TubeBuddy.
And remember, you can get a exclusive discount for multiple channel licenses by visiting videoinsiders.fm/TubeBuddy.
And obviously, if you like the show, give us a review on the old Apple Podcasts and subscribe on the podcatcher of choice. Obviously, from our analytics, we see that it's Apple, but also see us on Google and I think Overcast as well. So anyways, if you see us on these podcatchers and it has the opportunity to A, give us a review, and B, obviously subscribe to us. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.